Hey, I thought I would do a little one on MiniMaps. And by MiniMaps, I'm actually going to cover two different maps. Minimap and a world map. I thought this might be a good time to show this thing. Something I have stumbled across in my time. This is incarnate.com. It is a map making thing. It has a free version. It's fairly limited on the free version, but it is a beautiful, easy to use map maker. So I'm just going to actually show you something, because we're going to make a world map as well. So you have these different styles. You have the paid and free. Now with the free, it's quite limited. So I'm going to go, well, I can only go with landscape. So it creates, I'm not going to worry about any of that crap. So I just got this image now. And I can turn around and say, just paint. All right, nice and simple, nice and easy, nothing hard about this. You let go and it does that. You can, of course, adjust sizes, paint onto it. You can adjust this smooth thing. Where see it's get quite jagged. Bring it right down, and then you can see like it's a lot smaller, a lot more finer detail. What else can we do? Like, for example, I can now say subtract, go right small. You make little rivers. I don't know. It's just a cool little tool. If anyone out there doesn't have it, or even if you guys know who have it, or whatever the case may be, I don't know. Anywho, it's a cool tool. You can paint now, right? I can say, let's go all crazy. Let's do some painting, get all nuts, and you can adjust all sorts of settings here. Get all crazy with it. I'm not going to go nuts. The whole idea is I'm going to just make a map so we can see it. But I'm going to use this. So I'll show you how we do that as well. That's a little low. Right, and it's just not really doing anything too special here. Land. Alright, let's just scribble on here a bit. And then let's paint. Sure. Those mountains are fine. And again, like, you can adjust sizes. It's a really, really neat tool. It auto cycles through this stuff. So it's just kind of neat. But I'll show you kind of how we would use, say, something like this. But in a UI style thing that we can use. Pretend like that's a road, and branches off, goes over here. Sure. There's other stamps, like, whatever, stick that there so it looks cool. Put titles on this, trees, towns, whatever. Put a little keep here. A little keep. Okay, so we have our world map. I'm going to go up here and I am going to just export this as an image. I'm going to save as an image. And I'm going to open that up. And then I'm going to literally drag that over to my Unity. And I'm going to drag a place to put it. I'm dragging that folder. Alright, let's create a new folder for Minimap. Take this map. Where's Minimap? There's Minimap. Okay, so we have our Minimap. Let's make a panel. And he's going to take that image. It might have to be a raw image. That's okay. There we go. stick them in there. Let's take this stuff here. Obviously everything got squished and everything. And one thing with canvases, I always go with scale of screen size. And let's now have something like he pops up there. Okay, now if you wanted to make this, you know, relatively actually accurate, you would have to, we'll build a train, and for example, we would, you know, right, you would, you know, build your mountains, you know, roughly, you know, hopefully where you'd have them, you know, in your land and the water, right? Just kind of, so you get an idea. So you want, well, I said there's two kinds of things in MiniMaps. So we're going to do like a MiniMap, MiniMap, and then if you were running around here and you want to hit a button and pop this up and see where you are in the world, to display the information wherever you are here, transport it and stick it on this map. Okay, so first thing we need is a player. Now let's create a capsule. That's our player. And let's stick him at 0, 0, 0. And this is very important to know. 0, 0, 0 of this map is in this corner. Now I could move the terrain. I could do all sorts of different things, right? And that comes into play with this map, right? So say on this map we have some sort of image that represents the player. Where is an image? Why can I not see an image? All right, there we go. Right, so let's grab something. What's there? That could be a cool player. How about that? Sure. No, I like that one better. All right, so now obviously that's way too big. So let's go, you know, something closer to that. So the thing is, this image, which is now at 0, 0, should be the same as our player at 0, 0, but he's in the corner, this guy isn't. So there's different ways we can do this, right? You can adjust it there. One of the other things you could do is you could literally throw an object here and stick this in the corner, and now this object is in a spot from there. Anyways, or, you know, like I said, the other option, I mean, you could always just take your terrain, which we already know, like this basic terrain, it's 1,000 by 1,000, right? I mean, you can, where's the distances in these stupid things? Or it's slightly over 1,000. No, terrain width, 1,000 by 1,000. So technically I could come up here and also do, you know, this, right? And then the player is at 0 in the middle. So there's a couple different options you can do, right? So anyways, now if we want to transport this guy's information to this guy relative from these two maps, let's just make a quick FSM. We don't need much. Actually, let's make 2. Open and close. So if we, you know, get key down We'll use, say, the M. Where's that? Right there, M. So we will map, and map over here is I'm going to, that guy, just drag him over, game object, activate game object, and I'm going to make this a variable. Open, and I'm going to toggle, or no, flip, sorry, bool flip. So bool flip, open, set this thing open, go back over here. So I want this thing to start closed, which is fine, because then he'll be like that, and the bool is fine. So if I hit M now, once it plays, well, what do we have here? Why is it going ballistic? True, false, true, false. Alright, that's weird. I don't know what the hell that's doing. Alright, let's do this. Conditional? I don't know if I could do that with a conditional. So we have open. Open not equal open. And let's store that as open. Let's see if that works. If not, let's build it the normal way. Okay, fine. Fine, be that way. Be stubborn. I don't know why that flip was acting out weird. Here, this is what we'll do. Let's do it this way. There. Plain and simple. One's active, one's not active. Both got a key down, right? Why is my panel not activating though? That is so weird. I wouldn't think get key down blocks anything. Maybe it does. Oh, yeah. Here I am being an idiot. There we go. So let's fix that, because I don't know what I was thinking there. Okay, so we can open and close it, and let's do, I don't know, call it anything. So we need numerous things. We need the player. So we need to get position of the player for starters. Now we don't, I'm not going to use the vector though. I'm going to use every frame. I want the X, because we know that's player's X. And I don't have a Y. Well, I guess we could have a Y, but we don't want the Y, but we want the Z, which is player's Z, right? So now we have X and Z. So now we have that. Okay. Now we can also get rect delta, and this gets the size of our panel, which is our map. So this is panel size. Alright, so the other thing we need is I need a vector 2, and this is going to be world size. And you can fill this in through different ways, but I mean, I know Our world is 1,000 by 1,000. So we get those two things. So we get the position, world space, and now I want to set vector to xy, which is players 2D, I suppose you can call it. And we're going to use players X, and the Y is going to be players Z. Alright, so now that's not going to technically do anything on its own. And there's a reason why we got the delta, and there's a reason why we have the size of our terrain. So vector to operator. I actually need a couple of those, but I'm only going to put one in at a time. So we're going to go down and we're going to say, you know what, Mr. Players 2D, we're going to take the world size and I'm going to divide you. And we're going to get that players divided. And then I need another vector 2 operator. And I'm going to take that result, players divided, and I'm going to take our, did I even get this thing a name? Oh, the panel size. Panel size multiply. So I'm dividing it by the world and multiplying it by however big our panel is. And now we have, we'll just call this a final vector. And I'll do that every frame. And last, and if you don't have any of these actions, there might be a few here I've picked up on the ecosystem. Just keep that in mind if you don't have them. I'm also going to keep this to space self. Right, so now I want final vector. Alright, so let's see what happens. So our player, which is in the middle because we've moved the world, and if I hit M, we can see players there. And if I move the player, apparently our image isn't moving because we've probably screwed something up. By we, I mainly mean me. And mainly because I said I'm setting the position of the owner. Well, that's not true. We're setting the position of this guy. Right? So, whoa, something still ain't right. Something still not right. And again, get position, use owner. Apparently I just forgot to fill in some of that stuff. So obviously this needs to be the player, right? And you should always use variables. Player, boop. Stick them there. Okay, so we get position of the player. We're doing the vector stuff, doing the operator stuff, and we need to set position of this thing. Okay, well that's probably going to make a whole world of difference. I actually have the proper references. Alright, so we pop that up. I take the player and I move him. Now you also got to remember, like this whole image, including the water, is the same as this, right? So we're down in this corner. We're down in this corner, but we're in that map, right? So if I'm playing around this area or over here and go over to town, but ideally it's the same thing. We're just converting the vector over. Pretty nifty. Now, that's one style, or that's the world map, right? So I can call this, we'll say, world map. Okay, so what if I want a compass? Well, let's make an image. Let's go into 2D so I don't screw this up. And I'm going to stick him, say, up here. And I'm going to anchor him in the top left. Now let's give this thing a circle. there's a circle. That'll work. And I'm doing that because, well, just because, I suppose. So I don't actually want to see this thing. I want it gone. Actually, well, no, it's not true. I can see it. But I'm going to make a child of it. I'm going to create a raw image. Now, the raw image has inherited that circle. It's got a mask, right? Like if I pull the raw image over, you can't see it, right? So you can only see it through the mask. That's why I put this here, right? If I take the mask off, it's a square. So raw image, we need a render texture mini map, and this guy is going to be that thing, that render texture. This guy, you can adjust these. I am going to adjust these up by ×4. Alright, so we need to fill that render. Right now it's got nothing. So let's go down to the player. Let's move the player so he's not in there. And let's take, okay, well this camera can probably be part of this capsule for now. Let's pull them back, bring them up, make it look down a bit. Okay. And, well, let's just, for simplicity's sake, we're going to add another one. This guy can be the MiniMap cam. And you could do this perspective, or you could do it orthographic. With MiniMaps, I tend to like the orthographic, but I'm going to put it up in the sky, and I'm going to rotate it down, and I'm going to expand that out. We'll say 20 is pretty good. It doesn't need a huge render distance. It's fine. Doesn't need an audio listener. And I'm going to take this mini map and I'm going to just drag it into target texture. Now, all of a sudden, we have our capsule. And that's pretty simple in the ways of that, right? Just so you can make sure you see. Now, the other thing, now this is also where you want possibly layers and stuff, because it's going to render everything you tell it to render, right? And that may not be ideal. So you could have it, right? For example, just culling mask, right? Like you might not want it just to see trees or grass, you know, details. And you can have these things go onto different layers so that this guy doesn't see them. There. So then, like I said, but now, I mean, looking at the mini map there, as you see, it's works just fine. And I put a mask on it just so it looks a little nicer. Or you know, you can put filters on them to make it look kind of more flat shaded and stuff. Sometimes they do that. But there we have a mini map and a world map. Pretty cool, huh? So there is some neat little things, and plus you got a website if you didn't know about it. Check them out. And of course, we'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later.